Dear students, today we will talk about conservation of energy. Firstly, you should understand it conceptually that all matter and all energy in this universe is constant. You must have read in your school that matter cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed from one form to another. So, that is what is conservation of energy. That we are not actually able to create anything, rather, we are recreating things, recreating or transforming the things. We are changing the form of the matter, or we are producing energy from matter or matter from energy, but the total quantity is essentially the same. That doesn't change. For example, if I want to have a carbon dioxide molecule, I can prepare it from carbon and oxygen that is already available. If I want to have a water molecule, I can prepare it from hydrogen and oxygen that is already available. I can then further break this molecule into two. I can break this molecule into two components. So we are only doing processes of transformation or recreation. But the total matter and the total energy in this universe is essentially the same, it is constant. So that is what we mean by conservation of energy. Similarly, we can burn certain things to get energy, or we can use energy to create certain molecules, and so on, right? So, for example, if I ask you a simple question that what is difference between heat and work, what shall you say? That both are forms of energy, but heat is a random form of energy. It mostly gets waste. And work is an organized form of energy, and we are able to channelize it. We are able to do some purposeful activity from it, right? So, when we are able to channelize the energy to make it do some useful work, we say it's work. But if it gets lost, if it gets lost in the form of heat or light or something else. So this is a random form of energy and this is an organized form of energy. Obviously, we will be interested in organized form of energy. Therefore, in physics, whenever we talk about energy, we mostly mean work done, right? Now, you understand that work done is given by the product of force applied on a body and the distance moved by the body. As simple as that. You know it from school level. Therefore, if dW is the work done and F is the force applied, this dW is F dr. Dr is the distance traveled by the object when a force F was applied on it. Therefore, its integration will give us the total work done. So this will be W, and for F we can write dP by dt and then dr. Suppose by the application of this force, this particle or this object has moved from position 1 to 2. So from an initial position 1 to final position 2. Now this W can also be written as d by dt of mr dot, because we know that momentum is mass into velocity and velocity is r dot. And we can also choose to write that dr by dt is equal to r dot. From this we can say that dr will be r dot dt. So we'll substitute that here, r dot dt from position 1 to position 2. So this W is integral. I hope all of you are able to recognize it with this, d by dt of half of mr dot square dt, right? Because when you differentiate this will be twice mr dot, and that 2 and 2 will get cancelled. This is the mr dot, and then the internal differentiation of r dot, that is dr dot by dt, that is dr dot by dt, right? So this integral can be rearranged and written as this integral. And I hope all of you are able to identify this term with kinetic energy. 1 half of mr dot square is kinetic energy. So dt and dt goes, d cancels virtually with this integral, and this is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is denoted by capital T. So from position 1 to position 2, you can say that this work done is T2 minus T1. That's it. Alternatively, we can also choose to do this integral in this way, that work done which we said was equal to integral f dot dr. So W is equal to from position 1 to position 2. Now, for this force, we can try to write it in terms of potential energy, and that is minus dou V by dou R dr. I hope all of you know that force is also expressed as the gradient of, remember, conservative force is expressed as gradient of potential. A little later, I am going to tell you about conservative forces and non-conservative forces. But for the moment, remember that conservative force is given by the gradient of negative of the gradient of the potential energy, right? Therefore, you can say that this dr and dr goes, you are left with dou v only, right? So this w, because of this minus sign, it will be minus times v2 minus v1. So this is equal to v1 minus v2. We have also found that this w was also equal to t2 minus t1. So from here you can write that t2 minus t1 is the same thing as v1 minus v2. And when you rearrange, this is t1 plus v1 is equal to t2 plus v2. And what is this? This is sum of kinetic energy and potential energy and sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. So the sum of the energies is also constant. There are a number of ways of doing this derivation, beginning from different concepts, but we arrive at the same result, that is, the total energy of the universe is constant, right? So now we have to briefly explain what are these conservative and non-conservative forces. Remember, in all the forces in which the work done, remember, because whenever we apply a force on a system, some work is done. If the work done is independent of the path of the object, that is only the initial and final position of the object or the particle matter, and it doesn't matter that which path you have taken to move from here to there. You could have gone this way, you could have gone this way, in any way, it doesn't matter. What matters is only the initial and final position. In that case, we say that the work done is independent, remember, independent of the path of the object, but it only depends on the initial and final position, right? So such forces are called as conservative forces. Again, I am repeating, conservative forces are those forces due to which the work done is dependent only on the initial and final positions of the object and not on the path taken. The examples of conservative forces are gravitational forces, electrostatic forces, elastic forces. Remember, these forces are also called as central forces. In a previous video, I have given you a brief introduction of central forces. These are the forces that are dependent only on the distance between the two bodies. For example, if you have gravitational force, this is dependent on g m1 m2 by r square, dependent on the distance between the two objects. Similarly, elastic force is dependent on the distance. Electrostatic force is dependent on the distance, right? So all these forces are called as central forces. They are also conservative forces. Now, in case of non-conservative forces, the work done is dependent on the path taken by the object to move from one position to another. And it does not depend only on initial and final position. Remember, it also depends on the path which the object has taken to move from one place to another. So such forces are non-conservative forces, and the example include, for example, tension, for example, frictional forces. These are all examples of non-conservative forces. And remember, whenever you have to define potentials are always defined with respect to conservative forces and not with respect to non-conservative forces, right? See, I can give you one more example. Suppose you have a spring at the end of which you have connected a body. So when you apply a force on it, it displaces to certain position. But once you release the force, this body comes back to its original position. And why did that happen? Because of a restoring force. and that force is called a spring force. But what will happen if this spring is not connected to the body? If you displace it to some distance and once you release the force, this body is not going to come back, because at that time it has to encounter only frictional force. So in this case, when the spring is connected to the body, it is a conservative force, and when the spring is not connected to the body, right? So the force involved is a non-conservative force. In this case, we saw that the body did come to its original position once the force was released, and that restoration was possible because of the spring force. But once the spring force is not there, this body will not come to its original position when the force is released. Therefore, this is an example of non-conservative forces. So in case of conservative forces, the work done is dependent only on the initial and final position and not on the path involved. In case of non-conservative forces, the work done is definitely dependent on the path taken by an object between two positions, right? So I hope that gives you a fair idea of this conservation of energy.